I wonder what my lady would say. I wonder what my lady would say. I wonder what.
Hello, my name is Malerie. You're watching GCTV. I'm here with Hannah, who is the Executive Director of the Greenfield Businesses Association. Welcome.
Thank you.
Can you tell me what the Greenfield Business Association does?
Absolutely. So we support the Greenfield business community, all different business sectors, downtown districts all over the city. We're trying to make it easier and better to be a business in Greenfield, make sure business owners and managers feel supported, and make sure we're keeping an eye on how Greenfield is growing so that the growth we're bringing in is sustainable, we're bringing more people to visit. And we work with a lot of partners in and around Greenfield and in the region to keep Greenfield being a place that people want to come to.
Do you do it for every business in Greenfield?
So it's a great question. It's an interesting answer. So So it's a great question. So we originally we were a membership organization, and we are still a membership organization. So our business members are the ones who fund what we do, which is fantastic. And at the same time, in this day and age, you can't really only work for some businesses and not others. That's just not how things function. We're an ecosystem. Everything works together. So we're always trying to get more businesses to be members, which means that there are some membership perks. You come on the radio with us. We highlight you on social media. We'll help you with grants and different funding opportunities. But our work really benefits all Greenfield businesses. So even if a business isn't a member, they're still going to get some benefit from the work that we do. It might just not be as direct of a benefit in some ways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What makes the GBA unique compared to other local or regional business associations?
So, I mean, really what makes us unique is that we're focused on Greenfield. Greenfield is our primary activity area. We do have members who are businesses around Greenfield, but we're working with other organizations like the Franklin County Chambers up and down the valley.
Yeah.
We're partnering with people. It's a little bit like a baton in a relay. So knowing like when I hand the baton to Jessie Dean, who's the executive director of the Franklin County Chamber, when she hands it to me. But our focus is really what makes us unique. And then I also think that my particular view of business and how economic development works in a city this size, in a community like this, that makes us unique also.
What resources do you provide to business members?
Oh my gosh, so many. So one of the biggest things is that we really are kind of a matchmaker. So if a business comes to us, our business member comes to us and they say, you know, they're looking for funding opportunities, they're looking for interns, they're looking to get an idea off the ground, they're looking to do marketing, we either directly in-house or by connecting them out with another community partner, we are there to help them get where they're trying to go. So we really want to be a one-stop shop for business members to be able to come to us and say, you know, I'm trying to do XYZ thing through the city, or I'm trying to do something regionally, or I'm trying to expand a new part of my business out. We are there to help them find the right people and the right resources to accomplish whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. So I think of us really for our business members as being another set of hands on deck. You know, we're another member of their team that they can come to and get questions answered, have us doing some research on their behalf. So we're really just there to kind of supplement what they're doing for themselves.
Do you guys do it for other organizations too?
That level of depth we really go to for our members.
Oh, okay.
But if a business comes to us and they've got an interesting thing that they're working on, we'll try to understand what they're working on and then talk about whether, you know, membership is really the right thing. And I'll give an example. You know, we had a local business that was interested in putting on some events in town, and they didn't want to put those events on as their business. They just wanted to kind of build a volunteer group and put those events on. And so we're going to help with that. We're going to amplify that without that business being a member necessarily, because they're not looking to put their name on it as a business. They're just looking to kind of be part of the greater community. And events like that, they bring foot traffic into Greenfield, and that benefits our businesses, our member businesses, our businesses as a whole. So we're going to help with that. We're not going to shut the door in anyone's face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why should a business become a member of the GBA?
That's a great question. So it really, really helps us do the work that we do when businesses are members. I think, if I could go back and start over again, I probably wouldn't have us be a membership organization, because I think it can be a little confusing sometimes. But at the same time, our business members really understand that they are a part of something bigger than themselves. And so when someone decides to become a business member, they pay into something and they know that we've got their back. So sometimes I think, that transaction is helpful for people, and they feel more comfortable once they're a member. They feel more comfortable calling. They feel more comfortable reaching out and saying, I need help with this. And so those membership dollars, they help us do work on behalf of the whole community, and it's really like a rising tide lifting all boats, which feels good. It feels good to be part of something.
Can you explain what visitgreenfieldma.com is and how the GBA came to create it?
Yes, absolutely. So we actually didn't create it. The city created it initially. But what it is a website that has events, business listings, really anything that someone who's coming to visit Greenfield might want to find. And so the GBA and the Office of Economic Development at the City of Greenfield partnered on that website to really build it out, get more businesses listed on there, encourage businesses to list their events on there, and have it be somewhere that anybody can go to that website and see what's going on in Greenfield. And I can't recommend enough for people to go on there, go to the events page or go to any of the shopping pages. You can find so much that's happening in Greenfield or being sold in Greenfield or places to go. So we're really, really proud of that website. So our Greenfield Business Association website is really more business facing, and then visitgreenfieldma.com is much more visitor facing. And visitors include residents. People think that visitors are only people who live somewhere else. But I always say to people, if you live in Greenfield and you haven't been downtown or you haven't been to a business in Greenfield in more than 2 months, you're a visitor, and you should go to that website and see what's going on.
I thought you guys created that website.
Not originally, but we were a really big part of moving it forward. It was an asset that the city had. It's interesting, actually, because we did a great business community listening session with Mayor DeSorger when she first came into office. And that was one thing that one of our business owners in town said, is there's no place for people to go and see everything that's going on in Greenfield. And so we took that advice back, and when we were sitting there thinking about it, Christian LaPlante, who used to work in the Economic Development Office, he said, well, we've got this website and we're doing a little bit with it, but we could do more. And so that business owner's suggestion with a website that was already existing, we just took it and we really lifted it and ran with it. So it was great all around.
That's pretty cool.
It was so cool. It was so cool.
How does the GBA partner with other community organizations or the city itself?
Yes, so we definitely work with the city itself quite a bit. So we work with the Office of Economic Development almost daily. We work with the Franklin County Chamber. We also work with other departments like the Rec Department, DPW. I mean, there are different things we do through the year where we want to be partnering on events. The Rec Department does incredible events here in Greenfield, so we want to be a part of that. We want to help with that. Our DPW, they help us with the holiday decorations and all different things, so we always are working with them. And then there are a lot of organizations in town, especially our member organizations, but really everyone, they have events going on. They have different things that we want to make sure people know about. So we'll be in communication with all of them, invite them on the radio show with us. We do a radio show every Tuesday morning on Bear Country. So we work really, really closely because we want to know at all times what other organizations are working on, because it's really important for all of us to be working together. It doesn't help if we're all working on the same thing and we don't know about it. We're only as strong as what we're doing together. So we always are out there asking other organizations, and not just in Greenfield and not just in Franklin County. I mean, we're talking to organizations up and down the valley, over in the North Quabbin, over in the Berkshire County area. We want to know what people are working on and what is taking people from community to community. You know, we have a lot of people that work in Greenfield, but they live in Long Meadow, or they live in Chicopee, or they live in North Adams. So for me, in my role here at the Business Association, I want to make sure that people coming into Greenfield as employees feel welcome in the community. We want them to come back on the weekend. We want them to know where they can get lunch during the day when they're here working. So, you know, we're really involved in a lot of different conversations.
What events or initiatives does the GBA organize that you're most proud of?
Oh man, so we are becoming a bigger and bigger part of Bee Fest, which is an event in May, which is really exciting. So the 16th annual Bee Fest is coming up in 2026, and we'll have some big announcements about that soon. We're part of a big team that's putting that on. We do some smaller initiatives in the fall. We've been doing Vintage Days, which is a fun thing over the holiday weekend in October, just to get more people in stores and coming to restaurants here. And then through the holiday season, we've traditionally done Jingle Fest, which is the first weekend in December. This year, we're going to stretch it out a bit and kind of activate every Saturday in December a little bit more, have fun reasons to come downtown. And then, you know, other initiatives that we're a part of are like Take the Floor Pitch competition, which is something that the Franklin County Community Development Corporation, the CDC, does, where we invite local entrepreneurs who have big ideas to come and compete for money to get their idea off the ground. And we've gotten to be a judge on the panel of that, which is really, really fun.
Sounds pretty cool.
It's so cool. It's so cool. And then we also this year started up a group called Blooming Greenfield with the help of Kathleen Kenny. Becky Geyer, who owns Floral Affairs, and other folks are building that, which is a nonprofit that is focused on the celebration and beautification of all things Greenfield. So this year we did the flower barrels for a second time, those barrels downtown that different businesses adopt and volunteers plant and take care of them. We'll be doing a lot more there. We have some other beautification projects that we're trying to get off the ground because there are a couple places in Greenfield, especially when people are driving in, where if you're getting off the highway, you don't really know where you are. If you don't know you're in Greenfield, there's not always good signage or, you know, beautiful display. So we're trying to work on some of that as well. So we're really wanting to do a lot more visible things. One of the biggest things this year that I'm really proud of is working with the Economic Development Office. We got a parking benefit district created, which means we're going to take some of the revenue from parking when people come into town and they park. Some of that money is going to go into doing really cool initiatives, mostly in the downtown area, just beautifying things, cleaning things up, more public art. Those visible things really mean a lot to people.
Can you speak about some of the events you organize for the city, and what are the goals of these events?
Sure. So we don't do anything kind of, you know, for no reason. It's always that we really want to attract people to Greenfield. And like I said, sometimes that's residents in and around Greenfield. You know, I think it's easy for all of us to think sometimes that we're doing this just for tourism. You know, we want people from far away to come to Greenfield, and I think that's part of it. But the bigger part of it from the GBA's perspective is that we want people to be really proud of where they live. We want people to feel like Greenfield is really the beating heart of Franklin County, because that's what it was for so long. And I think as business has shifted as economics have shifted, people shop in different ways, they shop online more, so events create this great opportunity for people to come downtown again. We've got a lot more events going on at the fairgrounds. We work closely with the fairgrounds. When people come there, we want to make sure they know to come visit downtown. So it's always aimed at foot traffic and people feeling really invited to come visit Greenfield.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I know you make many social media videos promoting Greenfield.
Yes.
What do you think is the importance of social media in the work you do?
I mean, the importance of social media can't really be overstated. And I think part of it is that at this point, that's how people are finding places to go. It's how people are consuming information. And so we kind of have to have a social media presence, because if that's where people are, we need to get in front of people. So we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram. This past spring and summer, we had an amazing intern from Greenfield Community College. Her name is Mila, who just made us such incredible content for our social media. She went to businesses, she interviewed people, got her hands dirty, really understanding, what a business is about so that she could represent it on social media. It was so much fun. And I think people really enjoyed seeing the businesses in Greenfield. And sometimes on social media, people are watching you and they're not even, local. Maybe they're far away, but they're getting a sense of what this place is and what it's about. And sometimes I think people who do live here, they see it a little bit through the eyes of people who aren't here all the time. And it can be kind of inspiring in a way to see it through a new lens. So social media it's fun. It's a lot of work to keep up with it, but it's a pretty necessary part of how we're telling the story.
What is your role within the organization?
I am the executive director, so that means that I kind of run the day-to-day. I make decisions about what the GBA is doing. I have a really, really fantastic board of directors, so they help guide what the Greenfield Business Association is focusing on, bring new ideas to the table. So we have a big board retreat every January where we kind of outline the year and what we're working on, and then my job is to take that outline and activate it. And I'm also in charge of growing the organization. So again, this past spring, we actually had 5 interns from Greenfield Community College, which was amazing. That was the most help that we've ever had, which was really wonderful. And then, it's my job to really think about how we achieve some of these goals and how we grow as a partner here in Greenfield so that other organizations can depend on us.
What does your job look like on a daily basis?
That's a great question. It's a hard question to answer because I think every day is completely different. But I would say most days comprise of probably some meetings. I'm constantly, like I said before, we want to be in the know of what's going on. So that means talking to other executive directors and business owners, talking to other partners, talking to officials at the city, understanding what's going on, all of the different factors at play. It might include an interview like this or going on the radio and doing some marketing. And then I always try and find time to be at my desk and answer emails and be really communicative. And some days I'm trying to just get a newsletter out or, put up a social media post. So it really just depends on the day.
What skills are most important for your position?
I think it's really important to be curious. I am unendingly curious about people, about business, about how things are changing in our society at any given time. I ask a lot of questions and I really want to know everything about everything. The more information I have, the more helpful I am to my community. So I think that curiosity is really, really critical. And then being able to kind of focus in on the pieces of the puzzle, prioritizing what needs to happen first, and what all the different variables at play are. I think to be in a role like this, you really have to be willing to see all the factors in something and, hold all opinions at once when you're making decisions. So it's easier said than done sometimes, but I find the work to be really stimulating and really interesting.
What is your favorite part of your work?
Oh, man. I just love connecting with people. Every day I get to meet different people. Every meeting I have, it's about one thing. And then through the course of that conversation, I find out so much else about that person, So a meeting might start out that someone's starting a traveling soccer team and they just want to connect with businesses to find sponsors. But by the end of the meeting, I know that they also have a children's podcast that's focused on science and they are interested in finding a place in Greenfield to record, or, all of these things. Everything is always growing. So I just really love getting to know people because everybody has a lot going on. And there's really no limit to how the GBA can do its job better with more information.
What is the hardest part of your work?
Oh, the hardest part of my work is definitely feeling kind of limited in our capacity. So, again, we're a membership organization. That's a really big part of how we fund the work that we do. And it's tough sometimes to, I don't want to be out there trying to find members necessarily. I just want to be doing the work for our members. And sometimes I have to kind of pick and choose what I'm focusing on. And so it can feel a little limiting sometimes when I just want to be like full steam ahead.
Can you share a story or example of a time your work had a big impact on a local business?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's a great question. I think we have a lot of impact on businesses when it comes to people really hearing their story and knowing what they're doing and what they're working on. So I think one of the things that I love is you were asking about the Visit Greenfield site. We've done a lot of work to really amplify that site so that people know about it. And my intern and I went up to the fairgrounds at the beginning of this season and we put up 40 QR codes to the website. And since then, every event that has happened at the fairgrounds, we've heard local businesses downtown say that they've had many more visitors come downtown and say, oh, I was at Green River Fest and I saw this QR code and I clicked it and now I know that there's stuff in downtown Greenfield that happened at Soul Fest also. It happened with the fair. And so, just taking the time to create these really cute posters, and she and I went up there and we put them up everywhere. We put them in every bathroom stall. We put stickers on the Coke machines, and we heard from businesses downtown and around Greenfield that it had a really big impact on people coming to visit them while they were in town. And that's great. We love hearing that. We like knowing that these things are working.
What was your career like leading up to this position?
That's a great question. So before I moved back to the area in 2018, I was working in Philadelphia. I was working for an urban design and civic engagement firm at Drexel University. So I did a lot of this similar work, but it was for clients. So clients would come to us and they were working on engaging their community or installing public art or hosting festivals or creating organizational partnerships within their neighborhood, and we would come in and help them with whatever work they were doing. So again, it was always different. It was really, really fun, really interesting. And before that, I was living in Asheville, North Carolina, and I was doing a couple things. I worked as starting up a wholesale accounts program for a local chocolate maker there, which was really fun because people love when you call them selling chocolate. That's a very easy sale.
Yeah, I bet.
And I also, when I was there, I was the manager of a high-end spa salon, which was an interesting part of my career. I definitely learned a lot about how to work with people and get things done. but it was a different kind of industry than economic development. I definitely like the work I'm doing now.
How has the GBA changed since you began working there?
So I think since I started working there, you know, what I say the most to people is that when I came in, we were still a very traditional business association. And I think a lot of the things that we do, you know, holiday decorations and some of our events, they're really fun and they're really lovely. But we've seen business move so much in this different direction of what it needs to be supported. Social media is a great example. Entrepreneurship and starting businesses is a great example. Funding resources have changed. So when I came in, we really started to look at what our role was as a placemaker in Greenfield and thinking about how the GBA can help impact how people see Greenfield, both how they see it for themselves as business owners, how they see it as residents. Our job is really around the narrative of Greenfield and building pride in Greenfield. And I think we weren't doing that quite as much before. So we've really moved more in a direction of amplifying why Greenfield is awesome, what's awesome about it, what could be more awesome, and what the road to more awesome is, if that makes sense. That's our work now.
Okay. I understand you have a professional degree in placemaking. Can you explain what that is and how it relates to your work today?
Absolutely, yeah. So I have a master's in arts administration with a concentration in creative placemaking. And what that means is really looking at economic development through a lens of arts, culture, and history in a place, and thinking about how those things bring people together and how they engage people with how they feel in a place. So when I come into Greenfield, for example, it's important to me to know the story of Greenfield, the history of Greenfield, the different things economically that have made us successful at times, not successful at other times, and really figure out through that lens what's important to Greenfield now and what's going to help us grow economically in a healthy way. So, you know, every place is different, but I think the thing about placemaking is that it's really about understanding where you are and all of the things that make your place special and all of the things that can be leveraged in growing it in a way that really feels like you're not taking away from something that exists, but adding to this lineage that existed before. So I think arts and culture play a big part of that. History plays a big part of that. All of the events, you know, I say all the time that I came into this role and Greenfield really had all of these great things going for it already, but it didn't seem to think that about itself. And so my job as a placemaker is to say, hey, we've got all these great things going on. Who needs to know about these things? What aren't we talking about to really bring everyone together and bring everyone to the table? So that's the role of the placemaker, and that is to really be amplifying and shining a light on what's already there and then creating things that people want.
Did you expect to have a job like this when you were younger?
No. I did not expect to have a job like this. That's a great question. I had no idea that work like this existed when I was younger. My background was in theater. I love theater. I thought I was going to be an actress when I was younger, and that's definitely still a part of my life for fun. But it really wasn't until I went to graduate school in Philadelphia. I'd been working in business. I loved business. But I went to graduate school in Philadelphia and I learned the term creative placemaking. I realized the role that arts and culture have in economic development, and I was like, that's where I want to work. I love business, you know, I love economics, and I love arts and culture, and there's a place where those things meet, and I want to be the one who's really in that middle ground.
What mentors or influences guided you into this career?
Oh, so many. I had an amazing thesis advisor when I was in graduate school, a a gentleman named Andrew Zitzer, who at the time worked at Drexel University. I think he still does. He's the one who introduced me to this concept. I took a great class with him about it. I also have been fortunate to work for really interesting visionary people. So, in my work in the spa salon in Asheville, I worked for two really ambitious women who taught me to be really accountable in the work that I do and admit when I don't know something or admit when I need more information on something, and take responsibility for what I'm trying to do. And then I, have worked for visionary people in Philadelphia and Asheville, here in Amherst, just on and on up until this position in Greenfield. And I feel really lucky to have worked for people who were very, very generous with their knowledge.
What advice would you give someone interested in doing the kind of work you do?
Oh, that's a great question. I would just give them the advice to start showing up to things. Be part of committees where you live, go to public meetings, show up to arts and culture events, support local businesses. You really need to understand that the way that we develop economically is through a series of choices that we make. In my line of work, we hear a lot like, oh, Amazon ruined this, or, this business closing ruined that. But that's not how things work. Everything is always changing, And so if we're going to take responsibility for our role in what that change looks like, we have to show up to things and make decisions about how we want our society, our community, our culture to look. So I would just say get involved with stuff and be curious.
What do you love most about Greenfield?
Oh my God, I love so many things about Greenfield. I love that Greenfield has so much identity. It's a place where things have been invented over and over again. People here through history are so creative. They're so gritty. They figure out how to do things. We have just an unbelievable entrepreneurial mindset here where people are creating the things that they want to see, and if they can't figure out how to do something, they find someone else who is interested in the same thing and they work together. I mean, these examples happen over and over again in Greenfield's history. We're really an innovative place, and it's so beautiful here. Greenfield is really somewhere that I think everybody finds their little corner of something, and that makes me excited.
How can a business become a GBA member?
Great question. So most easily, a business can go on our website, greenfieldbusiness.org. Has all the information on there of how to become a member, what your membership perks are. Businesses can also become GBA sponsors, which is in addition to their membership. They pay a little bit more to support the work that we're doing, and they get some more perks for that. And they can also reach out to me. My email's on the website, and they can just send me an email and we can meet and talk about it. But our website is probably the easiest place to start.
What makes Greenfield a difficult place to promote?
To promote?
Yeah.
One of the things that makes Greenfield difficult to promote is that we have a very negative culture on Facebook. So, when we're promoting things, very often people on Facebook will write negative things in the comments, and that's tough. I think people underestimate how much people from outside read those things, and if you don't know anything about Greenfield, it kind of undercuts the positive messaging that we're trying to do. And I think that's really a shame, because so many of the comments I see, they're either not true or they're more about that person and how they feel about themselves or about their life here than actually being about Greenfield. And so I find sometimes a lot of our energy that we put into promoting, sometimes it gets sucked away because we're also having to deal with this kind of negative spin on things. And I just think that's unfortunate. It would be nice if we all could kind of decide that we were going to look at Greenfield's bright spots and good things a little bit more.
How do you see Greenfield's downtown evolving over the next few years?
That's a good question. I mean, it's, there are definitely things that are still up in the air about the downtown, but in progress right now. We have a lot more housing coming downtown, which is great, both affordable and market rate housing, which will bring more people living downtown. And not only is that good for foot traffic, but it's also just good for people walking around. And when you think about walking around downtown right now, when you're walking around at night, there's very little light on in the second, third, and fourth stories. With more housing downtown, those lights are on upstairs, you're walking around, you feel a little bit more of the energy of people downtown. I think that's great. We do have some storefront vacancies downtown, so there's room for us to find more businesses and bring them in. That's a real opportunity that we're working on with the Office of Economic Development to go on the offensive a little more and invite businesses here. We do have potentially a redesign of Main Street coming. It's a little unclear, the timeline on that, so we'll be there to help manage that. We also see a lot more businesses that are participating in events and different things, so I think we'll keep seeing some of these festivals get a little bit bigger. B-Fest is going to get bigger. Events at the fairgrounds are going to keep happening. We're trying to have better transportation between the fairgrounds and downtown. So I really see it, becoming more lively. I think one of the other things that we're seeing both nationwide but also here is, that people are really looking to move to places like Greenfield. And in Greenfield, we are a little strapped for available housing. But I think over the next few years, as people are looking to move to places like this, if we keep being on the radar of people and keep figuring out how to open up some of our housing or build more housing, we could really grow our community in a healthy way. So I look forward to there being more people, more stores, more events.
What are your hopes for Greenfield in the future?
I just hope that we can continue to see ourselves in a more positive light. Everyone I talk to who has either moved back here after time away or moved here for the first time, they love Greenfield. They think it's amazing. They think it's beautiful. And, it's not that they don't see some of the challenges with it. It's that they really see the things about it that brought them here and that they love. And I hope that everyone can start to see that and feel that, and some of the things that people are holding on to that make it feel a little more negative. I hope that we can help heal some of that and kind of bring everyone into a more positive feeling of what Greenfield is now and what it can be.
What are your hopes for the GBA moving forward?
I really hope that we keep growing. I would love in the coming year, we're doing some hefty fundraising and working on our membership, and my hope in the coming year is that we can hire an employee who can do social media and different marketing for us, because I think that would be really helpful to have someone, not just an intern and not just me, but someone in the middle who's there all the time, because really high quality social media, that person has to understand the businesses and the business community. And I also hope that our capacity continues to grow so that we can offer more support to businesses and keep partnering with different organizations to bring more business resources to Greenfield.
If you could change one thing to make Greenfield a stronger place for businesses, what would it be?
If I could change one thing, I think I would probably set up some more resource funds to support businesses coming in. I think it would be great if there were available dollars for businesses to do some storefront improvements, to really feel like they're part of the business community right at the outset. And I think, we're moving in that direction, certainly. But I think it would be great to have a really streamlined process for businesses coming in and for existing businesses to feel like they were able to promote their business a little more visibly.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
I don't think so. This was awesome. You asked great questions.
Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. And thanks for watching GCTV. See you next time.
I wonder what my lady would say. I wonder what my lady would say. I wonder